Why join a fraternity? All it is a big party, social gathering, and hazing, right? These are just a few of the misconceptions of a fraternity. I'm a rush chair for my fraternity at OSU, and I convince incoming freshmen and their parents why to rush at OSU. These are just some of the questions I get from the parents, and I have to convince them why it is much different than it is perceived. I had to convince my parents when I was going through Rush of the benefits of a fraternity. Now they think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made just because of the long-lasting friendships. Going to college can be tough enough experience for a lot of people. You have much more responsibility and a lot of pressure to make good grades. Joining a fraternity can help with that stress and make life much easier and much more enjoyable while in college. You make lifelong friends and become a part of something bigger than just yourself. Joining a fraternity teaches you how to take on responsibility, overcome adversity, and care for something more than just yourself. I'm first going to tell you why joining a fraternity can benefit you, how fraternity helps you grow up, and the misconceptions of a fraternity. The biggest benefit of joining a fraternity are the lifelong friendships. You first become a pledge, and this brings you closer to the people in the same pledge class. That's the same guys that you came in with at OSU and at the same age as you. You meet your closest friends in college, and they become a huge part of your life. Being a pledge, you have to accomplish certain goals, certain tasks, and these are much like a real job. A fraternity teaches you how to work with other people, even if you don't get along with them. Just like in a real job, you're not going to get along with everyone else. 85% of the Fortune 500 executives hold fraternity memberships. The next thing you really benefit from are the grades. I know, you wouldn't really think being in a fraternity, you really make good grades or you benefit from the grades. But you do. Going through pledgeship, you're required a certain number of hours per week to study. When I was going through pledgeship, I was required 10 hours a week in study hall. This helped me stay on track, stay on top of all my tasks, and just become a better person in grades and life. Going through pledgeship, my pledge class was first in grades out of all the fraternities at OSU. This was a big accomplishment for our fraternity. My GPA went from a 2.7 to a 3.4 my pledge semester. You have incentives to do well. Like my fraternity, if you make it above a 3 your pledge semester, you get $500. A big benefit of joining a fraternity is the test files. A test file is all the members before you in the same major save their test so you can study for them at a later date. So many people have the same major in your fraternity that it is much easier to help them and them help you. This is a big benefit that I found in being in a fraternity, is that whenever I needed help, I always found someone that could help me out with the same major. My fraternity requires a pledge GPA of 2.7 and a member GPA of 2.5. So this shows you that you just can't slack off. You have to stay on top of your grades and know what you're doing. The third thing you really benefit from is campus involvement. You wouldn't think that fraternities are involved on campus, that they do their own thing, but that's wrong. During pledgeship, you're required a certain number of campus activities. You become involved in many organizations. Like my pledge semester, I joined Entrepreneurs Organization, a business fraternity, the Finance Club, and Accounting Club. This helped me with many networking opportunities. These activities are both very good for networking and for social skills. Fraternities are involved and make up a lot of the Student Government Association. They are very involved on campus and do a lot of the activities you see around campus. A fraternity helps you develop responsibility and grow up. As a pledge, you have many responsibilities besides just schoolwork. Learning about your fraternity, where it came from, and why it exists is just one of the many responsibilities you have during a pledge year. You do get a pledge manual that will help you through your pledgeship, and what's in a pledge manual is just a history of the fraternity, why it exists, and during pledgeship you have to know everything about it. Pledges are required to be involved in 3 campus organizations, like I said, but most do join more, just because of the networking, like I said. Pledges are required to do either an intramural sport or a show. Intramural sports at OSU are very big, so if you do choose to do those, it is very fun. You meet a lot of people through that. Or if you do shows, every fraternity does these Broadway type shows where they join up with another sorority. It's a great way to meet girls, a great way to meet other guys, and a great way to have fun. But it is very, comprehended. Is very, time consuming. You study, or you, on top of studying and everything else, you have to practice for your show almost every night. As you see, this is a lot to take on while doing school. You have to learn to prioritize and become more independent at a faster rate than just the average student. This doesn't leave much time for just sitting around and watching TV. The most important is grades. If you don't make grades, then you will get kicked out of the fraternity. The last thing is the misconception of fraternities. Many people see the fraternities like the movie Animal House or the show Greek. I'm here to tell you this is very untrue, at least for OSU. I can only speak for the OSU campus. A lot of fraternities elsewhere are much different. OSU is a dry campus, so there's no drinking on campus or in any house. OSU is very strict on this alcohol policy. They do random checks. IFC, Interfraternal Council, does the random checks. No fraternity knows when they're doing random checks. So if you do have alcohol in your house, then you will get kicked off campus. They make it very simple. They're not lenient at all, and it's just a very harsh punishment. So everyone knows not to do it. I can't tell you the last time I've heard of people having alcohol in their house, just because it is such a strict policy. Another misconception is that every fraternity hazes. This is very untrue. Being a pledge doesn't constitute as hazing. This is a process where you get to know your pledge brothers and complete tasks, like I said. A lot of people see it as hazing, but it's not. Another thing is IFC also regulates hazing, and so they're very aware of what all goes on at OSU and what all goes on at every house. Another misconception is fraternity life is just a party. It's also not true. Yeah, there are a lot of parties in college, but that isn't what a fraternity is just about. You have to make grades first and foremost. You have to prioritize and make your own decisions. So as you see, being in a fraternity isn't just what it is perceived to be. It is a very large responsibility to commit to. So I've told you about the benefits of joining a fraternity, why fraternity gives you much more responsibility, how it helps you mature, and lastly, the misconceptions of fraternity life. The best thing you will take away from a fraternity is your education and the friendships you build. With what I've told you today, I hope you can change your view of fraternities, at least at OSU. Thank you.